Hey you guys, happy Thursday. What I want to do today is I just want to put together everything that we've learned because you've looked at it with models and we've shown you what those decimals are as fractions and then as models. So let's put this together of if we were adding these together, how would we do it? You could always draw a model if you wanted to. So if you can't do this process yourself, draw the actual model below, fill it in, and then add just like we did yesterday. But let's move just to the numbers and what we're going to do. Just like what we did with fractions, when we are going to add fractions, they need to have the same denominator. So we need to figure out on here how to get this 10 equivalent to 100. So what I'm going to do is I know that if I multiply this 10 by 10, I can now have the denominator of 100. And whatever I do to my denominator, I have to do to my numerator. So I am going to multiply that by 10, and I'll end up getting 20 hundredths. Now I can add these because they both have the same denominator. So I can add and say, if I have 20 hundredths, so 20 out of 100 pieces, and I add 47 out of 100 pieces, I will have 67 out of 100. And remember how when we use those fraction pieces, why our denominator doesn't change? Is because that's still divided into 100. Now, what would happen if these were decimals that we were dealing with? So if these were decimals and I had 2/10, so I'm going to write my decimal for 2/10, and then I added 47 hundredths, I would just add them straight down, and I would know if this is an empty space, what's going to go in there? A 0. And I could add down. 0 plus 7 is 7. 2 plus 4 is 6. And it's really important that those decimals are lined up, and we just bring the decimals straight down. And look, we end up getting the same answer. Let's do one more together so you can see exactly what it's going to look like on the work that you're doing today. So let me give you another one. What if I had 21 hundredths plus 9? I'm not going to do 9, you guys. I'm going to actually do 7 tenths. We still need to do the same thing. We still need to have the same denominator here. So how do we make this 10 equivalent to 100? We're going to multiply it by 10. So I'm going to multiply the denominator by 10 and get 100, and the numerator by 10 and get 70. So now, what am I going to add together? I'm going to add those fractions with the same denominator. 21 hundredths plus 70 hundredths. And if I add those together, we're still talking out of 100 pieces. 21 plus 70 is 91 hundredths. How do I write that as a decimal? 91 hundredths. Could I add that down as a decimal? You bet. 21 hundredths plus 7/10. I know this is going to be a 0. This empty space. 1 plus 0 is 1. 2 plus 7 is 9. And since the decimals are perfectly lined up, I just bring them down. You guys want to see a trick? I have a trick because we know about the powers of 10. So there's a much easier way of doing this. I wanted to show you the process, but then I've got something much easier for you to do. I have 32 hundredths, and I am going to add 5 tenths. When we multiplied by 10 earlier in the year, every time we multiplied a number by 10, we multiplied the base numbers and then we added a 0. We can do the same thing here. So if I say 10 times 10, I know that's going to be 100, so that this fraction becomes equivalent to 100. And 5 times 10, when we did it before, we did our base fact 5 times 1, which is 5, and then added the 0. So do you guys see what I did? Really? When I'm dealing with tens, with this fraction, I can just add a 0 at the bottom and a 0 at the top, which are my powers of 10. Then I'm going to add 32 hundredths and 50 hundredths, and it makes 82 hundredths. Last example showing you my trick. 18 hundredths plus 2 tenths. I'm going to add these together. I need to have the same denominator. Add a 0 when I multiply by 10. Add a 0 up here, and then add across. 18 plus 20 is 38. And of course, my hundredths stay the same when I add fractions. So I hope that helps. And on your homework, this at the bottom part of it, or what you're going to be doing at home, this is definitely going to help you, where you can just add those zeros so the denominators are the same and you can add straight across. So let me know if you have any questions, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.